Hello YouTube, I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney. On this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. And I'm supposed to tell you, like, subscribe, comment down below. It helps me to help more people just like you. Now, let's raise this up a little bit. Okay. Excuse me. We have a question from Philip, whose last name I'm not going to share. Oh, I should tell you, this is a chance for you to laugh at me a little bit, more than usual. No, you can always laugh at me. I'm always laughable. I'm a joke. So, I went to the dentist today. The dentist was like, "Hey, buddy, hey, you could get your teeth whitened. We're running a special today." And I'm, ow, like an idiot. I, like an idiot, said, "That sounds great. Sure. Thanks, dentist person." And an hour later, they were like, "Look how great your teeth look." And I'm like, "I guess maybe my teeth are just yellow forever, huh?" And they're like, no, they look fantastic. And they like held up the little tone chart or whatever. They're like, "See, it looks amazing." Nope, looks yellow. But now I have the added bonus that when I talk, it's like somebody is electrocuting my teeth. Literally, it's like someone is hitting my teeth with laser beams if I talk too much, which is what I do all day. I talk. Now, they assure me it's only going to last another 6 hours. But while I make this video, I might talk funny, and sometimes I might flinch, because, wow, very unpleasant, for no gain, and I am out more than $500 on this experience. But really, it's more about how stupid I feel. Okay, so Philip's question is as follows. "Hi, I just discovered your channel and I'm really enjoying watching videos. Sadly, I discovered it because I'm going through an EEOC case with mediation coming up in a couple of months. This is academia, so I've been dealing with a lot of hard-headed dummies. That is commonly how people find our channel. They have to deal with the EEOC. And often academia is full of hard-headed dummies. Case in point, Columbia, one of the worst HR departments I've ever seen. Both aggressively, like, inclusive, but also, like, very victim-blamey. And, like, they choose at random who to go at. Like, the whole thing is insane. It is the most incompetent group of people, of professionals I have ever seen. And I'm a person who thinks most of HR can be done by AI, because at least the AI would do the checklist, right? Most HR is just like, "What happened? Horrific sexual assault in the workplace?" I just got demonetized for saying that. Well, if it was a horrific thing that happened in the workplace, maybe you shouldn't come to work. You could offer that. You can say, "Do you need some leave time?" Like, there's a lot of things you can do that are good. Being like, "You can't come in." You might be a bad person. If you like, you and I are like, "Hey, this bad thing happened to you and you can't come in." You might be a bad person. Okay, but Philip, I digress, and I'm sorry. Philip goes on. "I think I have a pretty good case for discrimination and a great one for retaliation, but I understand from your videos that this may not reflect reality and that many things can still go wrong." I'm not saying your case, I'm certainly not commenting on anyone's case. I'm just saying there's no guarantees in this industry, right? That's something to remember. There's no guarantees in this industry. The best, most perfect, wonderful, valuable case in the world could lose. And so too, bizarrely, can an absolute junk case where nothing is correct occasionally win, although I will be honest with you, that is much rarer. Philip goes on. "So I have a couple of questions that I hope you could address in a video. And I'm going to break these up into separate videos because these are somewhat sizable questions, Philip. And hopefully I get to your second question, but I will certainly... Ow. I will certainly answer your first question. Okay, number one. Suppose in a case some well-known company or institution does something terrible to someone from a protected class, and it just looks to anyone from the outside like a terrible case of discrimination and then retaliation. Could you make a threat during mediation about going to the media to just talk about the details of your case, which you think most people would find horrifying? What I mean is that in mediation, before walking away, because they're not giving you what you want, monetary or otherwise, you could say, man, all these facts make your company or institution look like a terrible, racist, sexist, ageist, etc. place. It'd be a shame if a reporter from the Times got a hold of these documents and evidence. Assuming it would really be damaging for the company or institution to have very negative media about what they've done, would bringing it up like that in mediation be useful? In general, what are your thoughts about bringing up media as a pressure point during mediation or other negotiations? Okay, so first and foremost, careful with the Times. In my opinion, in my experience, the New York Times is liable to catch and kill cases in this industry for certain institutions. Allegedly. That is my opinion and my closely held, strongly held belief. The New York Times does engage in catch and kill operations, in my opinion. Now, that is an opinion based upon personal experience. Now, in terms of utilizing press on a case, I have a number of videos on this channel about how to do that ethically and carefully, right? There's a way to fight your case in the court of public opinion without making it venture into the realm of extortion, which is a reality. It's a reality for your attorneys, your counsel. They can't do those kind of things, so they're unethical, and they could be disbarred and sanctioned and a number of horrible things, or they could be like Michael Avenatti, or as we call him on the channel, Avenatti, who I believe might be in jail right now for some allegations that might be close. I don't remember everything, but might be close to like an extortion case. Now, obviously that's not what you're saying. But I raise this because first and foremost, people often get a little too strident, a little too aggressive with the if this then that. Give me money and I won't go to the press. Sounds like extortion to me. I mean, I'm not a criminal attorney, and we could always bring criminal attorney Michael Lambert back on the channel to talk about that. But I can tell you that if my client said, give me money or I'll go to the press, I would say, hold on, my client is confused about the English language, and we're going to go take a break. Right? I would probably just start shouting so that people couldn't hear my client. Like, if I heard my client like start to say, I'm going to go to the press if you don't give me, and I would just be like, make sure nobody can hear my client. Right? Because I don't want my client to commit a crime, to do a bad thing, or an unethical thing for that matter. Now, all that being said, it is incredibly important in these cases sometimes to control the court of public opinion for a variety of reasons that are not extortionary and not directly related to you getting money. And that's okay. That's important to do, and that's your right. And all too often, institutions and employers try to do that, and they get out ahead of you. So it's important to control that narrative from the start sometimes. And it's important when you do that, when you get out ahead of whatever you think the employer might do to control that sphere of public opinion. There's nothing wrong with giving your employer a courtesy copy of your press release or notice for your press conference, right? Now, these things are courteous. These are things you do to be decent to opposing counsel, to maintain relationships, to keep the lines of negotiation open. This is not something you do to force them to give you money. It's something you do because at the end of the day, your attorneys are going to have to work with that defense counsel again, and you at some point are very likely going to have to reach a deal with this employer, right? So there's a certain level of decency and courtesy that you show them with that advance notice of the press release. Because it's not kind. It's not kind. I've had this done to me. where you're working on you're on your work day, you're happy, healthy, whatever it is, and all of a sudden somebody comes in, they're like, hey, there are 45 reporters on the phone for you. And you're like, well, that's a lot. That's a lot for a Tuesday. And I'll tell you right then that I sure wish opposing counsel on that particular case had given me a heads up about the press conference, right? So let me stress that the point of disclosure is not to rip money out of your employer, but to be courteous. Now, listen, can the employer make their own decisions in there? Yeah, that's not your... Listen, the employer can come to you and be like, we've rethought our settlement stance. And that's the employer's choice. It's not your choice. It's got nothing to do with you. You're aware that negotiations broke down. You're going full steam ahead. And part of that is controlling the narrative because you're afraid they're going to get there first, right? But if they want to reopen negotiations, I would argue it behooves your attorneys to listen. It's their job. If somebody wants to give you money, it's your attorney's job to listen. Even if that amount is not exactly what you're thinking of accepting right now, they still ought to be listening. That's their job, right? So that's my take on that. Now, and I've got other videos that go into that more specifically and kind of deal with some of the penalties and sanctions and best practices of all that in a little more depth. And that's the good news. There's a way to go about media correctly. That's the good news. And that can happen in mediation or else outside. You know, I mean, it's certainly viable, possible, something you can do. Now, here's the bad news. Academic institutions of any size will often have 50, 100, 500, 1,000 cases against them. Not unheard of. And you might find that they don't care if you go public. Sometimes they don't. There's definitely employers who don't care. And there are also some academic institutions that don't care, right? It happens. Don't assume they care. Also, we'll go a step further. Remember that the people in PR, the PR department for that institution, that academic institute, are not the one making the decision to settle with you. Legal, HR, and like administration are making that decision. PR is not involved, generally speaking, in whether or not you settle your case. So a lot of the decision makers that you're dealing with are like, I don't care about that. My job is to get the good deal because my job is to settle employment law cases. Yeah, my teeth hurt pretty bad right now. Okay, so that's something to remember as well. And also, I guess the last note I'll throw out here is once you do press, you can never take it back, right? Once you do press, a lot of times clients will come and be like, we got to hit them again. It's like, well, no, Google's a thing. It's already out there. You already did press. The story's out there. You can't be more out there. I mean, listen, maybe you held something back. Maybe there's something new. You know, things happen. I'm not speaking to every potential situation in the world, but if you do a comprehensive story with a reporter that you trusted and worked well with to get a hold of that public narrative for your client, most of the ammo that might go into a press piece has probably been expended. You probably didn't hold too much back. Often, not always, but often. And so once you do the press, they're going to say, yeah, we don't care about that anymore. It's not like you can undo it. You can't take it off the Google, right? Like, that's not a thing. And we're already bad guys in everybody's eyes. And by the way, because you did press, now every single employer for the rest of your life, when they Google you, can turn up that case. Or they perform a background check, they can turn up that case. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. And you can absolutely find employers who are like, it's cool that you fought for what's right in the workplace and equality, and you oppose workplace discrimination and sexual harassment. These are good things. We respect that. We would love to have you here. But every time you don't get an interview or you don't get a job, you'll wonder for the rest of your life, did I lose that job because I didn't let that guy grope me 10 years ago and I started a case and I did press. And I have clients and friends who have to ask themselves that question. And that is not a fun question to ask, which is why so many people keep their case quiet. They file it on a private docket, they quiet case it, they don't do media, because often that can be really good for your happiness in the long run. And it's important to remember the valuation of a case in this industry is generally not going to be high enough to make it so you never have to work again. Odds are against it being that big of a case in this industry. And so you always have to have that eye on tomorrow. I'm not telling you to let anybody off the hook because you have an eye on tomorrow, but I am telling you to make informed decisions about what's right for you, and don't do things just because an attorney wants press or is pushing you to do press to get more money or something like that. Make informed decisions that are right for you. Because 10 years from now, that attorney, you're probably not going to hear from that often. She or he, right? But you're still going to be applying to jobs. There's a good chance. You're still going to be working. You're going to have a career. Things are going to be going well, hopefully. You're going to be past whatever happened today. And I hate for that specter to keep haunting you because you did press without being sure that was right for you. By no means am I saying take that tool off the table. By no means am I saying that you don't need to control the public narrative about yourself if things are going to get dirty in the public sphere. Don't misunderstand me. I'm specifically saying make well-informed and well-thought-out decisions about this. And that is the best way to ensure that you will not have regrets later. Anyways, Philip, I hope this helps. I'm going to look at your second question and potentially make a video for that as well. Like, subscribe, comment down below if this was helpful. Doing that stuff helps me to help more people just like you. And hopefully my teeth stop hurting. Bye.